Hey, my name's Robin with Trust Roofing, and I'm happy to announce the Trust Business Podcast. We've wanted to start a podcast for a while, and we're really excited to finally get it off the ground and start it this year. We're going to be posting episodes every week. The purpose of the podcast is that when I was growing my business, that was one of the number one ways that I was helped, was from watching podcasts and hearing other business owners and entrepreneurs and industry people talking about their business, talking about their processes, etc. So we wanted to start it with the purpose of inspiring, helping, and educating business owners and business professionals, and then as well, giving consumers content, insight, and education on their end. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I really look forward to it. Our first guest, I'm very happy to announce Brad Bashad. He's the owner and CEO of Home Love Construction. Home Love is a very successful general contracting firm servicing the Tampa Bay area. I've used them many occasions, and they run a very smooth ship, and they are a very solid company. So I'm really happy to share his insight and share some of his story with you guys. If you guys like the content, like it, comment on it, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Give us feedback, good and bad. I want to put out really good content that's entertaining and fun and enjoyable to watch. So let me know. We really appreciate your support in checking it out. And I hope you enjoy, and stay tuned for more. You're recording on that already? Yeah, it's recording? Okay, good. Okay, everybody. Hey, my name's Robin. This is the Trust in Business Podcast. I have a very special guest here. This is Brad Bashad, Home Love Construction out of Tampa Bay. Thank you for coming on, Brad.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
Pleasure to be here with you today.
Awesome. Okay, good. So the Trust in Business Podcast, we're basically going to be talking to homeowners and then also to business owners to help them, educate them, give them information, do what we can. So let's just start off. Tell me about Home Love Construction. Who are you guys? What do you guys do? And then tell me a little bit about where you guys come from, what the roots are of this business, and then where you guys are now.
Yeah. So first off, again, thank you for having me here today. I just want to set the record here. This is the first one. I'm first. So anybody else who's on this show, you are after me.
Oh,
just
man.
Just to set the bar there. But seriously, I do really appreciate it. So Home Love Construction is, we're a general contractor. So the idea of a general contractor is we take a project that involves a bunch of different trades and we make the whole thing as a whole come off right. Like everything from A to Z. Plan it to done, like you move in, it's done, like final cleaning, we're out of there. Where we came from is actually funny, like doing similar to what I know you kind of started in, is we started doing a lot of like smaller projects. Like that was kind of like the bread and butter, like, 10 years ago. I mean, this business has existed for 12 years. It's my parents started it back in 2011, and they just were doing like small repair jobs mostly. A couple like whole home like renos for like investors and stuff like that, but really kind of like lower, kind of what you consider like lower tier, kind of like basic stuff.
Almost like handyman work. It sounds
literally
stuff.
handyman work. Literally handyman work.
Gotcha.
That's right. And but then it just kind of started building into a couple bathrooms, couple kitchens, whole homes, did an addition, and it's like, oh wow, we can handle a lot more. And I started running the business in 2017 when I got out of the Army, and what it has turned into
I didn't know you had a service background. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. There's a lot you don't know about me. There's a lot of secrets.
That's why we're here. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So what it's turned into is we specialize in really effing hard projects. Like projects where there's a lot of different moving pieces, where it's like, we've got several projects where we're putting in steel to take out huge load-bearing walls, like 40-foot spans. Like we do the projects that no one else is willing to take on. That's kind of like what my vision has always been, is like, I think of like MacGyver of construction. Like when nobody else will take the project, we will take it. You know what I mean? Now, in addition to that, obviously it makes the run-of-the-mill projects very easy for us. My opinion is we're the fastest, highest performance general contractor. For sure in the Tampa Bay area, probably in the state of Florida, and soon we will prove worldwide.
Wow.
Big talk.
So
I know, it's big talk.
You have big goals and big aspirations for this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So it's a family business. So then did your family start you like out doing work, like doing the actual construction work?
Yeah, so I got out of the Army October 31st, 2017 was my last day. I drive from Savannah, Georgia down here to Newport Richey, which is where that's where we used to have our office.
Yeah.
And literally on November 1st, I was in a guy's garage where we were taking out a wall and putting an LVL up. I was literally like holding the LVL in place while it was getting nailed in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what is LVL for anyone who doesn't know?
Oh yeah, so it's like a beam basically made out of little sheets of plywood, and it's really strong and can go really far.
Very cool.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Keep me in check on the acronyms.
Well, it was something I was going to actually bring up also because you've written a couple of books, and one of the books, which I love this, and it's just so simple, but it's really cool, is a dictionary of every single construction term. And the point of it was for, I think, for homeowners, right? And then also obviously for business owners.
Yeah.
Just because we throw out a lot of slang terms. Like if I go and I quote a roof, you throw out these words. I'll say, oh, TPO, this, PVC, single ply. You kind of will throw out these words, and you're not sometimes, I know I've been guilty of this, thinking of the homeowner in front of you, and do they actually understand the definitions of these things and what they mean? And if they don't, then they're not going to be able to maybe choose the correct product that they want that's best for them, or just even be able to understand it. So anyway, that was something I was going to ask you about, was that book that you made, and that seemed really cool to me. I like that as an idea, just a dictionary of every single term for a homeowner. Yeah,
well, one thing that I want to say on that is for business owners, like, it's a great idea to put together a glossary. Grant Cardone actually just did this for real estate investing. He made the Grant Cardone's dictionary of real estate investing terms.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not just like small players doing it, but the idea of that is because we do throw out so many acronyms and there's so much jargon and slang and all this stuff, I was like, we need to just have kind of like a baseline here. And so that's why I did that. But for the business owners, it's a great kind of like you can sell that to somebody for, it costs us like $10 to print one.
Sure.
Like, hey, get $10. Like, let me just get you to baseline. But what I put on the cover was a little bit like brash, but I'm very happy that I did it. I literally on the cover, it says, how can a contractor rip you off if you know exactly what they're saying?
Right.
Which if you know the words, you know what they're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it's a great point, because sometimes, like and I'm sure in your world or in my world, somebody will have out in their contract, I don't know, like for example, I might be including
exactly.
Valley metal, right? And that's something I'm including, and it might say, hey, let's say I say this is aluminum Valley metal, and then the other contractor's including galvanized, or whatever. There's the gauge of the thing. There's these little things that will change something in price. Like I just had a project, it was on the water, it was a metal roof replacement, and my guy is quoting, because it's on the water, it has to be aluminum, it can't be galvanized, otherwise it won't get a warranty. And then there are certain fastening patterns and certain clip spacing and all of this stuff that goes into like a standing seam metal roof and the install of it being right on the water. So our quote's like, this is a huge house. Our quote was like, I think 100K. Another quote comes in, and it's like 65K. And of course, the homeowner's like, like very, very confused. And so they showed us a quote, and we dug into it, and it was galvanized, which again, you can't get a warranty on the water. And then just questionable whether or not the install practices were thought of in terms of being right again on the water, and that wind speed it has to uphold to. Like, was all that thought of and stuff? And it can be an educational aspect. Like if a homeowner wanted to buy a galvanized roof on the water and not get the warranty, that might be a choice they have. They could do that, but they would have to do that knowing and understanding that. So definitely educationally, I love that as a concept and everything. Let's see, you wrote one other book. It was Contractors Gold Rush or something like that. So what's that book about? Tell me about that.
So that is basically a book about, so it's called The Contracting Gold Rush, and it's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out what like the subtitle is, because I haven't really found something that hits, but the idea is like, there's a huge opportunity in the contracting space now and for the next 20 years. Like it's good now, and it's going to only get better because there's a lack of people to service the demand. Like there's literally not enough contractors, there's not enough roofers, there's not enough plumbers, electricians, anything, right? So this is specifically at like GCs in like specifically targeted for that, because I want to be known by other general contractors. Like I'm going to need their help because I plan on building out further than this.
Right.
But kind of the premise is like, just look at the trends. There's already a 400,000 person shortfall in the construction industry. Like we're 400,000 short on labor, right? And the trend, like you can actually look up, there's trends, like there's this acronym like ISBC or something like that. There's these companies that aggregate data. And there's one of these companies that basically looks at people coming into an industry versus out of an industry. Construction over 10 years has a negative growth rate of a couple % per year, like 1 to 2% per year.
I didn't even know that.
People leaving the industry faster than they're coming in. So we're already short and people are leaving. It's like that's setting up the craziest, like general contractors and roofers and plumbers and stuff like that are going to be the next tech entrepreneurs. It is the next Silicon Valley. It is, dude. It's just supply and demand. And people are going to be so shocked by it. But if you just look at the actual facts of what's happening, that's that's what's going to happen for sure. And that's what that book is all about, is what it is, how to take advantage of it, basically.
Okay, so it's about that opportunity.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense to me. I know, like when I was in the roofing space and I was a smaller company, I was like installing the roofs myself. I had a few guys and I was doing all this. I looked around at the industry as a whole and I saw kind of what you're saying. Like it seems to be a shortage of not just guys, but really good guys who have a really high care factor, guys who want to come at this from a place of like professionalism rather than, I feel like sometimes in the trades industries it's too much just, oh, it's what pays the bills or whatever, which is fine, it does, but coming at it from that aspect of like, really, how can we perfect this? How can we make this better? How can we do it so that it's the best end for the client, then also for your employees and stuff? And
Can we talk about what you just said for a second? Like you said, like it pays the bills and that's fine. I don't actually think that's fine. Like if you look at, like, for example, like if you're going to buy a car, right? Like a lot of people love like Teslas, right? Yeah. Like I just read Elon Musk's biography like for the third time. Incredible. There's a new one you need to read it. You'll freaking lose your mind reading it. But when somebody buys that car, like Elon didn't make Tesla to pay the bills.
Right.
He did it to like make a dent in the universe, like to literally switch the United States and the world to sustainable energy, right? Like I actually don't think it's okay to do something just because it pays it. Like I watch so Trust does all of our roofing based on actually all of our jobs. So because we like have a quick line set up and you guys are awesome, highly recommend. Obviously, it's your podcast, whatever. I know I don't need to do that, but But when I watch you and you guys and the way you operate, you're like we're similar in that is like I don't do this to pay the bills. Like I'm doing this to try to like make a dent. Like I'm trying to like change the industry. You know what I mean? Like if I look at the product of my company, the last sentence is we're trying to spur the rest of the construction industry to rise to a higher standard. And it's like, and I use the word spur intentionally. It's like a boot in the side of a horse. Like to get a horse to run, you got to hit it with a sharp thing. Like sometimes that's what it takes. So anyways, I just wanted to highlight that it doesn't actually have to be that way.
Right.
But we're so used to seeing it because think
in
of
the
all the other people we
industry,
work
it's
with.
particularly one that comes at And I completely agree to you. And it is ironic in a way because people who, in my opinion, from what I've seen, people who drive that initiative and drive things to another level go, no, this isn't good enough standard. We need to make it better. Those are the ones who inevitably always end up doing the best financially. Because at the end of the day, you're taking care of people. That's how it all works.
Well, what are the different levels of like motivation, right? Like money is the lowest level of motivation. Yeah. Duty is the highest level of motivation. So when it's a duty for you, like it is for you, like it is for me, it goes to a higher level. Really for you, man. Like definitely, like and with like you're in this new building now, like your expansion has just been incredible. I know you've shared like some of the like insider numbers with me, which probably not right for this audience, but your growth has been unbelievable. But it's because of a duty motivation to do it at a certain level.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, growth, that's a good topic. Let's talk about that for you guys. So you guys went from, obviously I don't know what your growth trajectory looks like or whatever, but I know that now you guys are a pretty good size, and I know you have multiple sales guys, you have multiple project managers.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of GCs, and I know a lot of them, and I work with a lot of different ones, but they never really take that leap. They're always just kind of operating themselves, selling the jobs themselves, or project managing themselves, which I have empathy for that, and I understand that, because I know that having a scaled business, sometimes I remember the days of just being on every job myself and just kind of feeling like, man, nothing would ever go wrong, right? And as you scale, the challenges do increase, but also, the amount of impact you're able to have and the amount of projects you're able to have that impact on drives up. So talk to me about like your expansion, what drove you to want to do that, and then how you went about that you found successfully, and then also share with me anything that you've done along the way that wasn't successful or was problematic or something you're still griping with now, or just talk to me about that, because that's a big topic.
So totally, and there's we could do freaking several hours on that.
Yeah.
But one thing on that is like I really got a very tangible payoff of doing that recently, which is we had our company Christmas party, which was like early December, and we had 10 different clients and their families come to that, and I was like, oh, this is how many clients I used to have in a year, and this is just like now like 1/10
It's
of
just a
our client base.
subset of like,
yeah, it's like a small subset, right? Because if you invite 100 people, 10 will show up, but you know, whatever. You didn't show up, no, you know.
I apologize.
No
Yeah.
But
I'm not good at bowling. That's
No,
why.
I know.
I was at a bowling alley. Come on.
yeah. So, but I like seeing that and having those people there and be happy, and their project managers are there. And I had never met most of them. I was like, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting to meet these people the first time, and they're happy to meet me. Like this is so great. That's one of the biggest benefits of having a scaled business is when you drive a lot of volume, people are happier to meet you. It's just the way the world is. I'm sure you've experienced that.
Sure.
But so in growing it, like what most GCs don't do, and I go over this a lot. I'm actually putting together a construction university right now. It's probably like 60% done.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll probably launch it this month is kind of like the target. Really, the target was January 1st. I'm a little late, but
Yeah.
What most GCs never take the leap to is they never take off the estimating hat. They feel like they have to do every single quote, and they never find a way to do it faster, and they never find a way to get someone else to be able to do it, right? So imagine if you, in all the roofs that you do, had to create every single quote, do all the takeoffs yourself. It would be impossible.
I humanly couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it. There's not enough hours in the day. So most GCs run into that. Then second, on project management, they don't split out the responsibilities of a project manager properly. So like, for example, most PMs have to do, they're involved in the permitting, they have to call the inspections, they have to order the materials, they have to line up the subs, negotiate the subs, make sure they don't come in over budget, line up the calendar, and manage the client and collect all the payments. That's like 9 or 10 different jobs. Our PMs do one job. They run the project. Their subs are lined up for them, their materials are ordered for them, the permits are pulled for them. Even their calendar is kind of created by Garen, like kind of with them, but their product.
Garen is your COO.
Yeah,
right?
Garen's our COO. Yeah, cool. So their product, like that's very clearly defined for them, is a rapidly finished job at or above industry standard. It's that simple. It's make sure we're meeting industry standard on all the work, because at that point it comes down to the design. When everybody's at the industry standard, it's how well did you design it? That's what determines the quality, right? Which is kind of a subjective
or
thing.
like just the customer experience,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah, but the customer experience, what I've seen, what's true for me,
Yeah.
that I've seen hundreds of times, is the customer is happiest when we're done.
Yeah.
So it's like there's bumps along the way always with construction, roofing, all that stuff. So I can't handle that yet, but I can handle how long it takes.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, project manager, your job is like literally we actually have a board in our office of the due dates for every project. It will be done by this date. We have a project that's 7 days overdue. I'm freaking out right now. Most of them,
I feel
most of
that.
them are not. But it's like that one, I'm like, you know, kind of. But that's probably the biggest thing is they don't define each individual person's product. You know, like I know that you're smart about that. It's like defining what is that person's. What are they measuring? Like you know what I mean? So most GCs never get to that point just because they don't realize they actually need to start there by defining the product.
I love that. So, okay, so basically you're talking about just roles and just splitting them up. Each person, each area has a role.
Yeah.
This is something that I'll bring up just in my roofing industry that I also do. And in the roofing industry, there's an interesting thing, like a lot of companies, and this is fine, some companies do this and they're very successful and they do very well and they take care of their clients, whatever, it's cool. But what they do is literally the sales rep will be like 1099, right? And then the sales rep has to sell the job, permit the job, do the order for the job, order the dumpster for the job, then they become project manager and deal with the client, do all this. But what you end up with is, in my opinion, I've seen this, someone else refer to it like this on some other podcast or something, is you're looking for these like unicorn type individuals. Because you're really, to do all of that successfully,
that's exactly right.
Like that's a
That's
unicorn.
actually the problem.
Where do you find that? How do you find that? You might be able to find them every once in a while, but what you end up with is...
You know what they are? They're called roofing business owners.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally.
Exactly, they're called, and it's like, you might find one who can do 3 of them really well or 5 of them really well, but you're expecting all of this, whereas if you get somebody, like I have my girl, Hannah, who's awesome by the way, shout out to Hannah, and she just is the permitting gal. All she does all day long is the job comes in, pulls the permit. Jobs comes in, pulls the permit, right? That's what she's doing all day long. Does she still hit hiccups, have mistakes, have this or that? Of course, she's human, right? But at the same time, her only goal is the permit to the company. That's it. So what ends up is that she ends up getting really good at that one thing. How to create the little shortcut and the boom to all the different permit portals. What that little county does different than the other. Oh, that inspector is going to want this. That inspector is going to want that. She becomes very good at all this. Whereas if you're a sales rep who has to do everything, you might be pulling a permit in, I don't know, Timbuktu or Treasure Island or whatever it is for the very first time. You're going to run into all these things. Whereas, okay, Hannah's done let's call it 20 permits in that area or whatever it is. So when you really subdivide hats like you're talking about, you can end up with more efficiency, more care factor, just more everything from that person who is specialized. So I like that you do that. That's how I rock and roll.
And what you just said, hats, that is how most business owners think of it, is it's literally you're like taking off hats. Like you can't wear all the hats. And if you actually listed out all the hats that you're wearing as a business owner, like not you or me, like we're here doing a podcast on a Monday morning. Clearly we're only wearing like a couple hats to have the time to do this. But if a business owner were to take all the different hats they're wearing and actually take them off and give them to other people and explain to that person in writing how they do them, that's kind of the magic to scaling something. And by the way, the other thing is I get a lot of comments on my videos about like growing a construction company and stuff like that I put out on our social media of like, oh, a bigger company's not better. Like that's a lie. Just so that we're clear, like a bigger company is better. Look at all the people you employ here. I walked up, I had to park down the street because you got so many goddamn vehicles in your parking lot. Like it's great.
It's
great, dude. You've got like freaking like 50 people here. Like this is better than if there were 5.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're feeding people, you're helping people's families. Like you're making it possible for people to survive doing something productive that's needed.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with you. I think that bigger is better when you scale intelligently and do it, in a way that's maintaining the quality is there. And that's like when I have my company purpose policy and like my company's purpose out there. And the point is to grow and to take care of as many people as possible while retaining like that defining family spirit and quality that started us off. So, and that's something that I challenge with us. Like right now we're in a phase where we've gotten to this point. I'm kind of like really stabilizing out right now, taking a lot of time to make sure that all my training, all my processes are really in before we try to take another leap, just to make sure that I maintain that. So that's a good question to you on growth. So you get people saying, oh, bigger isn't better, quality issues, things like this. I know I've ran into sometimes in my scaling, like I'll hit a level and like even right now, run into lots of little things that I'm just tackling. Do you ever worry or anything like about like the size and then not being able to take care of your customers or your employees as well? Or like what would you say to those people, who have that concern?
Yeah, I mean, I would say what that comes down to is that's a decision. As you're asking me that, I'm deciding like in a new unit of time, should I be worried about it or should I not? And my decision is that I'm not going to be worried about it because I know based on like my own track record that if something goes wrong, we'll fix it. We've never abandoned a job in the middle of the job unless like literally we had like a strong disagreement with the client and it's like,
and they wanted to cut ties,
this isn't good for either party. Like that's happened maybe like 2 or 3 times, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But
you're not going to make everybody happy no matter how good you are.
Yeah,
there's going to be someone or some situation or something. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it does come back to like a high level of personal responsibility, just looking at what could I have done better.
Yeah, and I don't want to brush off your question either because it's a valid question. And like for a while, I was actually very concerned with like, okay, how am I going to be able to handle these more people? And here's what I realized is when you go and take on a bunch more projects, you have this is just like down to business, like dirty business talk, right? Yeah. But it takes money to hire people to take care of your clients, which you know that.
Right.
You've got a ton of employees here. That money comes from new business.
Right.
So it's like when you grow the amount of business that you have. I remember I learned this from this guy, Jason Avery, who literally like made me do the math of how much more money I was going to have when I grew my business from 1 million to 3 million in annual revenue, of how much more money I would have to pay my staff to take care of all the extra stuff. And when I did the math, it was like something like I'd be able to afford like another $500,000 in salaries or something like that for like extra staff. And I was like, oh, that's phenomenal. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. And when I realized like when you grow, you realize like you're not going to just keep all of that money, like the extra revenue. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
It's like, but then you can afford to bring on more talented people and you can pay a little bit more. You can afford to like start inching up how much you pay.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm pretty confident that we pay our project managers more than anyone else in the construction industry. No holds barred. And like when I started getting into like, oh, I could actually recruit a 6-figure employee to run a big portion of my company. I could actually get a candidate who's capable of doing it. The pay lined up with the skills required to actually do the thing. So I realized that I guess the point here is like for other business owners, there is hope. Like it's not hopeless. Like there is like you can actually do it. Like if we can do it, dude, anybody can do it. Seriously.
Yeah, no,
you know?
no, for real. Like, guys, like, yeah, like I dropped out of high school when I was 15 years old. I was like awful in school, whatever. But yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah.
If you have the determination and all of that, you can. Anybody can do it. Okay, good point on all of that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's see, lost my train of thought. Okay, we're talking about scaling. Okay, here's a good question for you, and this would be to potential clients, but also to business owners. Where do you find, like, what's your successful actions in hiring? Where do you find all these people? Because that's one of the biggest things that's a problem for me. Because I know it can be really hard to find the right people. Then if you find them, the retention of them. Yeah. But then it's also you can hire somebody and they're just not the right fit. So what are your successful actions in hiring and maintaining that?
Dude, I'm so glad you asked me that. Yeah. So literally, I mean, we've typically done like the typical business thing of like Indeed, like even, you know, some positions, like very like construction heavy positions. Sometimes you got to go to Craigslist, like literally, like you have to. Like sometimes people hang out on Craigslist who you would like people who get it done.
Yeah.
But we recently started doing. So this has been like the most successful thing we've ever done, bar none, is for any position that we're looking to hire that we like are struggling to find candidates for. We do a hiring bonus. We do a signing bonus, which only gets paid 90 days in.
So and you're paying that to the
person, to the person who we hire, right? And then running a Facebook ad announcing that to the local market with no targeting. Like we don't target it at all. We literally just set the area of where we'd want it to be because of drive time and stuff like that. And then we literally just run that a text ad. It's just an image like with text on it. You know, looking for a receptionist, blah, signing bonus. And just boom, we did that over the weekend. We spent $150 and got 150 applicants.
That was this weekend?
That was this weekend.
Oh my gosh, someone's busy calling these guys right now.
Yeah, literally. Actually, well, somebody's gonna have to get busy calling.
Yeah.
Does Kathy have them? Yeah, okay, yeah. Somebody's literally calling him right now.
Wow, that's
insane.
Yeah,
so it's literally like what I realized is like
ad. I've never done a Facebook ad for hiring. I've used organic Facebook like on my own channel or on my company's channel. Never done an ad though. It's interesting.
But if you look at like Indeed, like what's an Indeed hiring ad? $500 usually. Yeah, it's like $500 for an Indeed hiring ad.
Yeah.
You can spend literally 110, and you'll get maybe 100 applicants.
Right.
We spent 150 and got 150 applicants, and we don't have some magic Facebook thing. Like literally, it's like
and they were people who drove interest directly at your brand and your company coming out. Whereas people on Indeed are just super generalized, and they might pick 10 different GCs.
Promo. Yeah, exactly. Like someone had a picture of me in the ad, like. Yeah, I mean that's a little
right.
That's not a successful.
Keep you off of the advertising. No. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I'll say one of my successful actions also for any business owners out there or whatever is what I do is I announce it to my team and I get my team very involved in the idea. So like let's say I'm looking for a new sales representative. I tell my whole sales team, I tell my entire staff, I put it in my company channels, my chats, and I let everybody know because the team is excited to grow and the team is excited to change. People like that. Like, oh, we get a new sales rep. Okay. And then they're gonna think, okay, good, who are my friends who are, and they're aware of all the qualities that are needed to succeed here. And that's where I've gotten a lot, and sometimes not even announcing it, but just a team member being like, hey, my friend here, he would be really talented at this. You know, can we do an interview? And I go, sure. And I talk to them and they're a great fit. So making sure that your team and your employees are active and interested in the process of the business growing and the process of adding new team members. Because if you found team members who are good culturally, who kind of gen in with everything, they're more likely to pull in other people of similar caliber. Rather than, again, when you go to Indeed or you go random, you know, you can still find it, but it can be more challenging.
It takes a lot. Like we have a full-time recruiter now.
Wow.
And so it's like literally it does take a lot of calling, like to you know, because most people are not a good fit. Like you said.
I know companies with like, that's like multiple recruiters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, like 7 recruiters. That's all they're doing all day long.
We've got to get there. Yeah, we got to get to that point because people
not
become
construction
the
companies. That's they sell energy or something. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Tom's company.
That company there. So.
Yeah. So I mean, but dude, we got to get to the point of having 7 recruiters. You know, like we got to. I heard he does 150 new employee starts every week.
Yeah, I can't.
Isn't that crazy?
I can't even fathom that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Someday maybe I will.
Yeah. You will for sure.
Okay, sweet. All right, let's do this. So if you're talking to like a homeowner aspect, what would you recommend for them to look for in like a general contractor?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what would you recommend that they look for in the nitty gritty and in comparing things? Because it's so hard. I mean, even in just me and roofing, my bid might be here, like we were talking about, and the other bid
Yeah.
is there, or this company's here and this company's there. Like, what would you look for knowing it so well as a GC?
So I have a super unpopular opinion. You want to hear it? Like this, like people get mad when I say this.
I'm ready to
But
be mad.
but it's the truth. No, you're not going to get mad because you actually follow this. What I'm about to say.
Right.
By this is what I honestly tell people is I'm like, when you're looking to hire a general contractor, ask them how long they have left on their office lease. You get it?
Yeah.
I literally, and actually, like, I would actually recommend doing this because what you're gonna find, and any GC watching this just got really mad if they office out of their home. They're probably like, why are you saying this?
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is because when I got really serious about my business and I was like, okay, I am hiring a COO and I'm done being small and having these, frankly, having to put out fires on everything. Things are gonna go right.
Yeah.
When I decided that, the first thing that I did was I got an office.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's such a true, unfakeable indicator of somebody who's serious about their business. And in contractors, a lot of like one of the things that's kind of like an underserved part of like the contracting market is like warranty, right? Like a lot of contractors do a 1-year warranty, like for GCs. I don't even know if you even know this, but it's literally like a 1-year warranty is all that's mandated by the law, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like how long do you guys have to do like?
Yeah, and I see it in roofing.
Product,
I see it in roofing all the time. I mean, yeah, like a repair, you can't do much of a warranty.
No,
but
that's different.
In
Yeah.
like a replacement, if I'm doing a full replacement roof, the minimum warranty we do is 10 years, and we have an optional upgrade to 20. But I see contractors out there with 3-year warranties, 5-year warranties, and what that tells me, if I'm the contractor, is I'm going,
No. Most of them are 1 year.
Some of them are 1 year, and what that does for me is I go like,
Literally,
well,
Rob, this is stats. 90% of contractors do a 1-year warranty. We do 5.
Which
and
is
it's
really good on
It's considered
GC,
like
that's really good.
it's considered like forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like some people are
that's
like,
really
dude,
good.
that's stupid. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, 5-year on GC is really good. But I do the 10-year, and to someone who said that's stupid, I shouldn't do that. I would say to you, hey, if you do the roof right the first time, like a shingle roof, right?
Yeah.
You install it totally to code. You're nailing, you're everything, barring like a hurricane, which obviously is
that's
going to be a term in
yeah.
the warranty. But barring something crazy like that, why should that roof leak or give the homeowner a problem? And the answer is, if it was done right on day one, and this includes like a TPO flat roof also, there should be no issue. Now, do I ever have a warranty call? Do I ever have an issue? Of course I do, right? We do tons of them. And what do? I have in-house repair techs who just go and take care of that right away. But to give something shorter than what it realistically should last is kind of saying that you're not confident, especially in me, because all I do is roofing. Like you're doing bathroom remodels, kitchens, this, that. You're doing all over across the board. Me, I'm so focused just in the roofing that I want to do that at as high a degree as possible and give a warranty that I feel like is also real, because the other thing I'll see is like manufacturers will give a material warranty and they'll say, oh, it's a 50-year limited lifetime material warranty, and you read the warranty and you figure out what that means, and it ends up meaning...
Doesn't include the rollers, doesn't include the glass on the window, doesn't include the frame, like...
It's all this fine print that just it limits liability and gets out, and that's something I'm not about. I'm very much just like, hey, this is on the labor, this is against leaks. If you need anything, call us up and we'll get back to it, right? And it's just simple, so...
Yeah.
Those are good points on that. And something I would say to, any business owners who are watching this, if you're on the fence or were thinking about getting an office, doing that, I would recommend it 100 times over. As soon as I got my first office, that really took us off. Just the things you're able to do, just the realness of you go to work every day and there's your team.
Yes.
And okay, now if I want to stock materials, I can, right? If you have a warehouse space, oh, if I want to park my dumpster in the back, oh, I can. And then for clients, it's like, hey, this is real. This is where we're at. It just took things off. It really makes you serious. And then it communicates to homeowners you're serious. And the likelihood of a GC who was operating of his house going, man, I'm tired of this. I'm going to go do XYZ now. And then, okay, where's that warranty? Where's that accountability? Whereas if you're, you have a real big company or it's real and you have an office, okay, now for a homeowner, they're like, okay, that builds confidence. Now they feel like they can trust you more. And that goes a long way just in selling and ensuring that people, are confident in you, et cetera. So that's a great point for business owners also.
Yeah, the other important thing on like hiring GCs that goes like right behind that is like itemization of the quote. Like actually spelling out exactly what you're getting.
Right.
Like the number of times that I see build an addition to the house, 20 by 40, $120,000. I'm like, what?
You reminded me of something
There's
I saw
so
you.
many
I saw you
variables.
say on Facebook or something, and you made it like a big deal, and it is. It's true, right? To understand, but you said it's like you said something like this. You're like, it's an ethical dilemma if you as a contractor are being too general on your quotes.
Yeah.
And it's true because if like I'm just like replace roof, it's like, what am I actually doing? It doesn't hold me accountable. So what I try to do is I try to get nitty gritty. I'm like, hey, put a tarp on the ground to prepare it from this. Cover the AC up with a cover in order to protect it from debris. Put a plastic over the pool. Like getting really nitty gritty like this. That way, it's holding my team accountable to, hey, this is the standard, and then it's showing the client, hey, this is the standard that we expect this roof to go down to. And so that they understand. Now everyone's on the same page, and then we perform and we deliver it. Or whatever, but it's laid out, it's detailed. That way there's no chance for them to misunderstand, them to not understand, my team to not understand. It's so important.
And here's the other thing of that is like you said, for my team to understand. That's the other thing is if you're giving a generalized like do this, unless you have a proprietary system for doing everything you do that's totally known on the back end, how do your people know what to do on that job if you don't have the details spelled out? Like that's what I love about the way you do your quotes is like your team can literally just follow the instructions on the contract and everybody's on the same page. Like ours is built the same way. Like literally our quote like becomes the recipe for how the job gets bid out to the subs on how we actually perform it. It's even in the order that it gets done.
Yeah. And how can a client hold someone accountable if it's not clear and understood?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Okay, well, Brad, it's been an absolute pleasure. We could talk for probably 3 hours on this. We're doing a shorter form thing, but thank you so much. If somebody wants to learn more about Home Love Construction, because you guys do, you do all sorts of stuff. I know that you do like classes for contractors. You guys obviously deliver tons of work in the Tampa Bay area across the board. What's the best way for them to reach out or learn more about or contact you guys?
Sure. So, I mean, the website is just homelove.construction. There's no .com on it because, like, I thought that was a good idea. If you're a business owner, do the .com thing. Don't do a weird ending to your URL. It creates more problems.
Okay.
But it's homelove.construction. Pretty much everything is on there. One thing is if you're a GC and you're looking to grow and you want like a bigger company to like help you and put some structure there, we actually have a franchise program, which we have about 12 franchisees right now all across the state of Florida, which we just love and we're always trying to grow and promote that. Cool. But yeah, dude, this has been a blast. I'm excited that you're doing this.
Yeah. Homelove.construction. Check them out on Facebook. This guy is an absolute maniac on Facebook with his Facebook posts, ads, all that stuff. We didn't get to talk about that, but check him out. And then thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Okay, good.
Good.
Awesome,
Love it.
man. That was
Thanks,
excellent.
dude.
Thanks, man.